Feeling a little art craft crazy? Hi, I'm Donna from Art Craft Crazy, and I'm going to show you how to make these stick pins. Stick pins have been around forever. In the old days, the ladies used to wear them in their hats and on their dresses. Here's one. This is the one we're going to start off with today. It's got a crystal head on the end of the pin. You buy these ones like this. So we're only going to use 3 beads on this. It's pretty simple to make. You start just by working out how you would like your bead arrangement. So I'm just going to use a little colour first, a little gold bead, and then some pearls. Mix up the sizes, just pop them on until you get them the way you think it looks good for whatever project you're making. I use a fine line applicator with glossy accents in it, and that serves a purpose as a glue, and it dries clear so you can't see that I've glued down these little beads together. You only need a little bit, because once you've glued them together and you've put them in whatever you're going to use them on, they pretty well stay there. So if you're going to use them on a mixed media project, or on one of your cards, or in one of your journals even, once they're glued in, they're not going to move anyway. So just set that up to dry. Always put your lid straight back on this fine line applicator and place it upside down, and it'll be ready to use next time. So let's ramp it up a bit and make a pretty fancy one now. Now you can use an eye pin or a head pin that's normally used for jewellery making, or you can make your own by using silver wire. Just cut it off at the length that you want. If you want to make a really long pin, this is ideal. Now this one here, I used an eye pin and I glued on a jewellery finding piece, and I used the E6000 to glue that together. You really must glue this on today and leave it overnight before you use it. You need that strength. These are spacers, and they're used for jewellery making. They do 2 things. They stop the beads from coming off the end, and they're also decorative. This one's got a hole in the top and the bottom. You'll put the spacer on first, or a small bead will do the same job. And this is a flat spacer, and I use this on this pin here, on the top and on the bottom. Here's another one, the little brass one. I've made it very vintagey. It looks really nice. It's probably my favourite. And what I've done there, where the hole is in that top piece, I decided to put a little blue stud in it, but it's really tiny. I'll come back and glue that in later on. So now I've threaded all my beads on. So I'll just go back now and use the glossy accents again to glue in the spacers and the beads. This little one here is a rondelle. It's got lots of sparkle in it, and it's got a bit of purple. This is a silver bead, and a pearl and a little purple bead, and they look much nicer in real life. Now the top of this one, you can hang things in them little holes. I didn't go that far with this, but the option's there. I did put a little sparkle in that centre hole. Just something subtle so it didn't take away from the centre of the pin. But I have got the option to come back and hang something from those two little dangle holes later on if I want to. Another vintage looking pin. Now I went with a black little crystal bead this time, and it just offsets. Now this one has got a really big hole in it, and see how it sort of wants to wobble with this pin. What I do here is when I put the glossy accents in, I'll come back later on when it's sort of 50% dry, and I'll start repositioning it so the bead is sitting nice and centered. There's always a front and a back to these beads too, especially when they wobble around a little bit. So just turn them around until you find the front or the back. And it's good to do these in batches, so thread all your beads on first and then come back and use your fine line, because it's just much easier to do it like this, like a production line. I've got some great ideas how I use these. I'll show you at the end of the video. I'm just repositioning, see how they wobble? So I'm just repositioning that to make sure that it's nice and centered. You can clip the bottom of the bead if you feel it's sort of moving around too much for you. You might have to push the beads back into the center a couple of times. Now I'll use the tiniest little dot of glossy accents before I put this little bit of blue diamante in here. It is a sticker one, but I just don't feel it'll stay on there, so I've put a little extra of the glossy accent on just to make sure it stays there. I want it to last. And the glossy accent's a little bit slippery. Put it in the center, and this one's just a little heart bead. Just made something simple here extra, and I'm gluing on. This is what you use for your fingernails once you put your polish on your nails, and put some bling on those. So they're so tiny. I thought this one needed just something that little bit of extra with the pearl and the grey bead, and just put a little tiny red crystal on that, and it just set it right off. It looks really pretty. Do have a go at making your own pins. They are really easy. You'll be able to use them on so many different projects. I'm Donna from Art Craft Crazy. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.